I'm so excited that we do get to be together, especially since we won't be next week. So thanks for getting to the mat with me. We're going to be, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be focusing on some balance techniques and also just really evaluating our own system and how are we in balance right to left. First of all, that's a big one. When I work on my massage clients and they lay on their back, often you can see that one leg is pulling up shorter. So one heel is higher up. That is not so much that you have a femur bone or a leg that's longer or shorter. It's generally about hiking and tension that might be happening up through the sacral area, up through the waistline, and so on. So, even as we're doing, for example, spinal twist, noticing if you feel different in your side, or as we're doing reaches and so on, that can be a part of getting your hip girdle to be able to be centered, which makes a huge difference, of course, just to your back health and happiness when you're lifting, walking, all of it, and will really help with balance as well. So it's all connected. So I invite you to just basically be in curiosity mode. We're going to come down to our back bodies first with the block. We're going to place it right between the thighs. Feet are flat, like you're going into bridge pose. And I currently don't have the AC on, but if you get desperate for that, just give me a hum. Yep, block between the thighs. However's comfortable. Yeah. When that block is there, we just don't want it. We don't want it right kind of in between the knee joint because you've got a lot of delicate connections there. Yeah, looking good. All right. So we're going to tune into our breath. And I know you guys are so good at that. You experienced yogis, you. And as you do that, we're going to link the breath with engagement. So as you're ready, enjoy a long, slow inhale through the nose. And also through the nose, if you're not too stuffy, exhaling, squeeze the block and progressively empty out all of your stale breath. We call it compression exhale. Asking, is there more? When there's nothing left, inhale, soften and allow. Have fun witnessing that inhale breath wave as it rises up the spine. It's like a beautiful massage you get here on a Tuesday morning. Is there more? And then on the exhale, again, squeeze, empty, anchor. And the result of both the anchoring and the squeezing, you should really feel an anchoring down with the low back and a tilting up of the pelvis. Now, when we're doing this, you might tuck your shoulder blade wingtips in towards your spine. If you feel any pull through the neck, you might tilt the chin up and back a little to restore the curve of the neck. I hope you'll enjoy those long, luscious inhales as a little massage and vacation. And those long, powerful exhales as an awakening. You might even say, I am here. This is my yoga for the day. And there is something to accomplish, right? So we want to be in non-striving mode. The tongue is soft, the eyebrows are soft. Perhaps you turn your gaze up and in third eye that helps with that deep internal focus. Perhaps you add the ujjayi, great sounding breath, that soft contraction of the throat. Yeah, I hear it. Makes the breath sound like ocean waves or wind in the trees. We'd love the rest of our mouth to feel just very liquid, soft. Again, non-striving. Talk about this very often, but I was remembering it again this week. Yoga means to yoke or bind, unite together, body, mind, spirit. It's a wholeness practice. So while we're focusing, on increasing our strength and our stability and so on in our body, we want to make sure it's from a really sweet, peaceful space. Right? We have plenty of striving in life off of the yoga mat. And in fact, when life off the yoga mat is particularly stressful or dealing with some of the insecurity of life and the world can be so intense. All the more important that in this space, we're affirming, I am whole, I am well, I am safe. And you just imbue every cell in your body with that message. As you continue, please now let those exhales, compression breath, inspire you to raise the hips up into bridge. Try to sense, please, if your feet are wider or more narrow than your knees. We'd like them to be directly under the knees so that you can really feel your full footbed, all four corners. And on those inhales, as we descend the hips, as slow as you possibly can. And I'm seeing people make some nice micro adjustments as you scan your body from the inside. I love it. The next time you've returned on that inhale, well, then you're going to keep the block where it is, but exhale and bring the knees into the belly, a nice tight hug. You got it. Feet flexed, we're then going to bring the arms out into a T and take those legs slowly to the right. If you can, bring your right hand up onto the outer thigh, so to anchor it, but we'd like to keep the knees stacked. And the block tends to help with that, but you can also make that your intention. And as you're hanging out here, as I mentioned, this is a great chance to play, to evaluate, where is your torque and tension? And of course, what's your best position for relieving it? Is it having that arm behind you or coming in and out of your twist, sweeping it up above the head? Oh, yeah. And then some of you might enjoy extending that top leg. If you do that, you might use your right hand from underneath. The head might be forward, it might be rotating behind. Have your back hand palm open to the sky. That's going to generally invite a much more useful opening through the chest and kind of the shoulder plexus. And then inviting you to turn to embryo on the right side a moment before extending both arms to a T and slowly bringing both legs to the outside. So it's a nice little core effort. And again, remember, there's really no position or play with your arm that isn't useful. It's all going to take you somewhere. Maybe it's bending the arm and kind of pulling in towards your waist when you reach up. Maybe it's circling, sweeping to the waist and above the head. Oh. Sometimes we point and flex through the hand as well to kind of floss those nerve fibers. What are you noticing, again, especially right in that waistline hip connection? Does this side feel different at all? And then perhaps extending that top leg into your waiting left hand. Or sometimes with the block between the thighs, you don't necessarily need that support in the same way. But we want the leg the same height as the hip, because otherwise it's just pulling on the sacrum. We just want a good stretch here. You guys finding anything good? It's amazing. It's such a simple shape, right? A little spinal twist. What? As you're ready to come into your embryo pose, enjoy a nice breath or two. We're going to actually come straight from this. We're going to go into quadricep stretch on our side. And I was doing it the other day and I came up with something that I found really useful. So give it a try. Get rid of the block. Keep your lower leg, your left leg, kind of bent in front like you've got it. And then go ahead and reach back for your right ankle. And what I found that I liked about this is that I could then start to bring my right knee back and get not only the normal stretch, but almost like a bow pose, like back bend, if you will, because that knee in the front is helping keep my body on its side, right? I don't feel like I'm going to roll backward. Is that making sense? So continue to try and open up through your heart space. Let your shoulder rotate back and in toward the spine. Yeah, you can use your lower leg if you would like, or lower arm, excuse me, to support the head. And if you've got your left knee like fully straight forward at the hip joint, you know, if you move it down a little bit, maybe that feels better. So it's up to 45-degree or something. And notice that angle really makes a difference of the height of the knee. Will impact the angle of the stretch and what you're getting into. Lastly, if you want to engage that ankle into the hand, again, adjusting your lower leg, it's just your balance tool. So it doesn't really matter what angle it's at, other than to be useful. Lovely. And release that leg. And I'm going to put my right hand on the floor to balance. I'm just going to, with my right hand bent, I'm going to circle it. So I make big circles with my leg bent. My top leg is bent now. Yeah, you got it. Marvelous. And then just holding it open a moment in kind of a clamshell, instead of a big clamshell. I just want you to hold open, and you're intentionally working that outer line of the leg and the hip. Nice work, folks. All right, however you want to get there, we're going to the other side. And hopefully now it's kind of just making a little sense, jiving with you, where and you just want that lower leg at whatever angle gives you enough support and balance to confidently reach for that ankle and to open and broaden the front body as much as possible. So ideally, the knee might come behind the hip quite a bit. And then you're still squeezing the glutes forward, kind of letting your wingtips of your shoulder blades move forward toward the chest. So they're tucking into the spine. Yeah, you guys look good. And of course, we know breath is the change agent, right? So as you breathe into that, there's an opportunity for something really good. Of course, remember, you know, if you ever go to reach for that ankle and you can't quite get it, using a strap can make all the difference. Is this side different? What are you discovering? Sorry, still dealing with cough a little bit. Again, if you haven't yet, maybe you want to engage that ankle into the hand, make that little resistance stretch. This is, I think, a really valuable one to notice, like, is that very different on one side? I used to just feel like it felt crispy, like on the front of one thigh. It didn't have the same fluidity or elasticity that my other quad did. And then as you're ready, release the ankle and do your nice circles with that top leg, knee bent. And then if you can, just stay open in that clamshell for a moment, just working that outside line. It's fun to do some of those strengtheners when we're not weight bearing. It's just kind of a different thing. All right, we're going to come onto our back again, and we're going to do our bridge with our foot hover. Great opportunity to really work the glutes. So sometimes, because glutes not firing is a really kind of classic issue for a lot of people. I know it's weird. Why do we have things that don't do what they're supposed to do? I don't know. But I find it useful sometimes when I come up to just take my hands and connect and ask, is this firing? And it's that lower part of the butt cheek, right by where it connects with the hamstring there. And then as you're ready, maybe hands come to hips, or maybe you keep them there. You're going to slowly hover one foot just off the floor. If the hip is dropping, you need to talk to the butt and thigh, but really the butt of the standing leg. And if you can't keep your foot off the floor for more than a moment, that's a great indicator of not enough strength, maybe too much tension. But in this case, usually it's not enough strength. And man, our butt strength is such a huge part of our stability and our safety as we age, our chances of not falling or catching ourselves if we do. Yeah. And, you know, by the way, sometimes I've had it where, you know, if my back was a little tweaked or something, I didn't feel like I could even lift my foot off the floor. Just switching your weight bearing a little bit, so even keeping the foot on the floor, but intensifying weight bearing back and forth can be enough to start to ameliorate some of those imbalances. Right. When you feel like you pretty much completed what you came for, come on down, bring your knees towards you and wide, happy baby. So in happy baby, again, we make a connection with the ankles, the blades of the feet, the big toes. Shoulder heads anchored down the back. We did a lot of focus on that recently. The no wings, no shrugs, no neck tension, and deep, deep breath. Like maybe you're even rolling your head side to side. For chronic neck tighteners and shruggers, doing that regularly is so helpful. All right. Then invitation to slide the hands up towards the knee until your upper arms land on the floor. I've got my hands actually on kind of the outside of the leg, right above the knee. And I'm going to go into half straddle. So I'm going to bring one heel, just flop it in towards my butt. My hand is like at the knee crease. The other leg's extending, and you can play with point flexing, rolling, switching. And if it kind of rolls your body to one side, fine, enjoy. And are the two sides different? What are you able to notice? And then eventually bringing the heels together in butterfly at the butt. And then I'm going to bring one foot higher up my body towards the belly button, keeping it low to the body versus up high. I'm going to bring it just up the body and I'm going to let it roll me to the other side a little bit. So you're getting some nice mobility in the hip joints here. And then if you would just plant the feet wide in horse riding stance, and just briefly come on up. Again, I want you to focus on that deep, low inner thigh glutes. And then we're going to release down and we're going to come into that strengthening pose where we walk the soles of the feet together in butterfly. And then raise the hips up off the floor. And what I've noticed in my own body is if I am tilted, if my tailbone is tilted down, if I've got like a lower back arch, my butt will not be working. And if you're not sure, just try that intentionally. Intentionally kind of arch your back, let your tailbone drop towards the floor, and then tuck a little bit. And I'm not saying like, oh, hyper tuck. But I want you to find that position where you can feel the right stuff. If anybody is like, I just don't know, give me a way. I'm happy to talk to you directly. And again, we should be able to work these muscles without any striving. So face is soft, neck, tongue, it's just all good and juicy. I had a weird day yesterday where I just kept feeling like low level stress in my body. And I really never did figure it out 100%. In the morning, I was like, I think I had too much coffee, right? And that can jack your nervous system to be like, something's wrong, something's wrong. But I just kept noticing, I was like being weirdly tight in my neck, my breathing felt shallow. And I never really figured it out. I was like, I don't know, maybe there's something going on in the planetary alignment. But I just kept choosing to breathe deeply. And I kept choosing to soften my mouth and smile. And that would immediately help my breath, actually. So it's really fun to find out, what are your tools? What are your tools for softening your system when it gets jacked up by who knows what? Yeah, you might even notice now, how does it feel to just smile softly? It's so subtle, someone across the room is not going to see it, but you can feel the differences unfold. And coming slowly down with the hips, maybe let the knees settle a moment. And then lengthening the legs out into your corpse pose, and we'll come into abdominal pumping. But maybe you want a sighing breath first, whatever. As you're ready, you'll exhale and hold out and begin your pumping. Drawing in, pressing in, drawing in, pressing out until you need to breathe. And then I do feel like I need a sigh of breath. It's a lot of work. Yeah. But what a beautiful, loving massage for that whole center, digestive center, emotional center, stress hub for sure. When that feels complete, again, you might bring knees to belly. Just notice what you've got in there. If you feel like a little side to side. When I have knees to belly nice and tight and then roll side to side, I can definitely feel a little bit again of that kind of kidney waistline massage. And then we're going to come up to standing. If you like spiral rocking, great, have fun. We're going to start off with our train tracks as our first standing posture. And a reminder in train tracks that you want your feet parallel, like about 6 inches. If they're too close, you're going to feel like you're on a balance beam. So you don't want that. But right below the hips, so it feels really neutral. Hands on hips. And we're going to take our first foot, doesn't matter which one, back onto the ball of the foot. You can just see it's a low, small step. I've got maybe 1.5 feet between my front heel and my back toes. I'm going to lower that heel, intending to put it back in the track. Hopefully you started with your feet in it. Then look underneath and see, is that heel truly straight back? Woo! Put it in the track. And then come back upright. And what I want you to notice, first of all, is what's happening in that front leg. Can you anchor more deeply through the inner line of that front foot? And I usually look at it and I point at it. Okay. Then as you return upright, notice, are you getting any kind of a stretch or sensation, usually in the back leg? It might be in the front, to the side, it might be down the calf. If not, then go ahead and scooch the front foot forward is the easier way to do it. And that way you just get to do it little bit by little bit. And we want the hips steered so that I can squeeze my inner thighs. I feel like you can pinch a piece of paper there. Great, let's go ahead and add our arms up, kind of a jubilant. Hello, world, feeling a deep line from that back heel through the heart. One more breath. And then slowly return to your Tadasana mountain stance. If that leg that was back feels a little funky, rubbery, and weird, that's a great indication you got an edge. Let's try the other foot. Again, make sure they are straight forward as you start. And you're almost on a balance beam there. You might want to widen, start with your feet wider apart. Yeah. And then land that back heel. Ooh, feeling that in my calf already today. What did I do? Anyway, check it out. Get it straight in the track. Yeah, that's really good. All right. Again, notice, do you need to deepen your stance with that front foot scooching? How's this foot doing, staying anchored in the inner line? Is it peeling away? Is it different? Squeeze that imaginary piece of paper as you're ready. Add that jubilant arm reach. Lung is soft and non-striving. And you can use my little soft smile trick if that helps you. That's the weirdest thing. I was driving along and kept feeling tight. I don't think I'm stressed. What's going on? So I didn't know and I couldn't know, but I did know what I could do about it. I just softened my tongue and smiled and it immediately helped. All right, let's return to mountain. Go ahead and shake it out. How many of you feel like one side was different? Okay, about half. That's cool. Let's do it again. And I'm going to challenge you to just get your stance, but then deepen it a little bit with that front foot until it really brings you to an edge, shall we say. So stepping back with one foot, intending to lay the heel in the track, looking underneath and seeing if it's in the track. Yeah, still got a ways to go. I feel like I gotta get my balance first. So that's why what I suggest is starting off with a small stance just on the ball, then laying the heel, then deepening by using the front foot to scooch because your back heel is nowhere near straight. So I would say shorten your stance. Better, it's still not in the track, but again, you may need to shorten your stance more. Yeah, but Julie, I think your right heel needs to kick out a little bit more. That's really hard to pronounce. I'm like, you're welcome. Notice too, if you're gripping with your toes, that is a great indicator then you actually need more support from other muscles to anchor in, inner side glute, and down through the ball of the big toe. So if you're gripping with your toes, you're using the wrong stuff. All right, let's add those arms up one more time. And I'm hoping some of you might be getting a deep stretch through the front of the back leg, but we're really interested in what's happening more like side and back. Okay. And then return. That leg feels a little weird. You've done good. Yay. And then step back. I do love your playfulness when people are like giggling. Like, oh. Yeah. So then always look under and getting that heel really in the track. Notice what's happening in the front foot. Yeah. No, so it's a great party game, really. I mean, we should just absolutely do this when we have friends over. What are you noticing? And if you want to have those arms. Yeah, you can do this in a mirror at home because I know one of the challenges is the looking under and the coming back up. It's like, oh. But again, it helps us notice, is that much more difficult on one side? When that inner line of that front foot is rooted, and you can squeeze the imaginary piece of paper between your thighs, you should feel like glued to the mat. Do you guys get what I mean? Like you feel like a sticky frog, like someone could have a hard time to feel. Awesome. All right, return to that mountain. Nice. And then I'm going to have you just do some nice little kind of hip, knee circles. And then as you're ready, please join me. Inhale, glute and ride. Big glute squeeze forward. Exhaling, forward fold. Nice compression. Exhale, empty, empty, empty. Full breath here. Give it room if you need it. For your next inhale, sit to chair. Just drop the butt, chair or bar stool. This is another place where we can test, am I using my low butt cheek? If I'm in an arch or leaning way forward, these are just being pulled long. They are not working. I want to be seated mostly upright, not like actually upright, like against a wall. Mostly upright, and I want that low robot belly to engage back, and that will bring these into a working position. You guys feel that? Yeah, cool. You got power now, you get tools. Inhale, root and rise. Exhaling prayer hands, and I'm going to ask you to think about anchoring. In fact, I'm closing my eyes for deep attention. Think about anchoring through that inner line of the foot, squeezing the imaginary block or piece of paper lightly, and just see what that gives you. Again, I'm not like, and then what does it take to soften through the mouth when you're doing that? This is one of the things I've noticed for me, and I'm not assuming it's true of everybody, but whenever I go to create that core attention and ignition, my mouth wants to tighten. I want to put my teeth, lower teeth against my upper teeth or do something funky. For some people, it's a shoulder or neck thing. So as we're going to add arms out to the side, like glider plane, I'm going to ask you to similarly let the right muscles work and stay relaxed in the places that we don't want to strive. So using, again, all the core strength from the feet up through the torso, reaching out from the heart through the hands, and finding liquidity. With that, all of that integrity in place, on your inhale, slowly sweep the arms up. If you're comfortable bringing the hands together, groovy. If that doesn't feel good, don't. Prayer hands lifting the left knee, standing crane. And think about that paper rooting, slow, steady journey back to your crescent lunge, or if you prefer warrior one. Beautiful. Right hip bone steering back will help you get that. And as you're ready, we're going to inhale and reach the arms up and invite you to dip your left knee. So this can bring us into a stretch into the hip knee. Obviously, only go as deep as your knee is happy with. And ever so slowly reach the heart up. Keep thinking about rooting down through the ball of the right foot. So maybe you can even take your vision up. And then exhaling, return and forward fold. Full breath there. Inhaling, exhaling. On your inhale, sit to chair. Now, another thing we can notice in chair is if our knees want to come together. Might do it in chair so much, but I'll notice sometimes if I'm going to pick something up, I'll bring my knees together. That's a classic sign of misuse of your body and that something that's supposed to be working isn't. So just notice if your knees are not parallel, what does it take? It's usually an external rotation in the strength of the thighs, and that'll bring you right to that foot. On our inhale, slowly root and rise. Glute squeeze if you want that back bend. Exhaling, resolve in prayer hands. Once again, think about rooting through the inner line of the feet. Inner thigh squeeze, reaching out heart to hands. What I'm hoping you feel in this very deep active reach is the work across the back of the shoulders and upper back. And non-striving, soft smile, like you've got the most wonderful little secret. Deep abiding breath. Please pay deep attention to your standing foot, which will be your left foot this time. When we come into that standing crane balancing pose, and we don't want the toes to grip or curl, just notice what's going on down there. As you're ready, slowly inhaling, sweeping up. Exhaling, prayer hands, shifting, lifting the right knee, standing crane. Breathing deep, communicating to the body, and slowly stepping back into your crescent lunge. And I misspoke earlier, I had said warrior one, but you really can't do the knee dip in warrior one. So if you were trying to do that and confused, apologies. Go ahead, dip that right knee. Notice if this side feels different. You maybe already learned from your quad stretch if it was. And I'm going to think about anchoring through the inner line of that front foot. This is my difficult side. Rising up, see if you can send the heart forward, the head up perhaps. And then slowly returning ragdoll. Ragdoll means our knees are bent, letting our torso just straight, letting the head go with gravity full breath. And before we sit to chair, think about externally rotating the thighs. So I don't even know how to talk about that in a better way. But if you think about walking between your thighs, kind of forcing your knees into alignment with the feet, and just see if that brings you into a different, more glute present chair pose. And let's see if it helps us with balance. Let's lift the ball or heels of the feet, just under the balls. What's happening in your tongue? Your eyelids. On an inhale, rise. Exhaling, we're going to step sideways, straddle. We're going to go side to side. This is a wonderful opportunity to kind of both use that deep side line on the outside, but also let it go. Right? So you can feel when that leg is straight and you've got all this opportunity to soften and explore tension there. And now we get all that deep stretch on the inner line. And maybe you can take your hands all the way to the floor. Maybe they're up on the knees or one of each. Some people love dropping the hip and releasing the sole of the foot, like so. When I do that, and if I reach my hands a little way, I get such a good stretch into that line of the leg, also down that deep waistline. Spending a few deep breaths in each side and noticing if it's different. Slowly back to center. We're going to slowly guide the hands up to the thighs and inhale to my cow pose. So tailbone is tilting back, heart drawing forward. Exhaling, tuck tailbone, rounding the back. Inviting you to do that a few times. Breath initiating motion. Love what that feels. And then in your time release, come on up, grab your block again if you would. And we're gonna use it in mountain stance a moment. And do a little nerve flossing with our upper body, but use this time to, again, strengthen that core base. So, and check that your feet are straight forward and that they look like they're straight below the hips. They're not, out or in or anything awkward, just nice and neutral. And then actually, we could do this too. Go ahead and raise your toes. So you're just anchoring through the balls of the feet and the regular footbed. Yeah. And then if you're ready, lay the big toes and then spread the other toes. Notice if you're either using your hands or looking at your feet to talk to them. And then I want you to feel a sense of, again, root and rise, or like a kind of a zipping up of that inner line, as we're going to draw the back line down. So think about anchoring your shoulder blades down. And actually, this reminded me of something else that I wanted to do with guys. So before we do the nerve flossing, I'm going to invite you to think about pouring a heavy tea kettle of water into making a coffee or something, like however you want to think about that. And so you've got this tea kettle of water, and you kind of go like that, like you do, and it's heavy. And then I want you to think about taking it all the way down through these muscles to bring yourself up. So again, kind of a zippering down of the back line. And just feel how different that is, that there's a broadening through the front, right? That the shoulder blades can kind of weigh in versus the being bent forward, hiking the arm. It's a zipping and anchoring down through that back line. Do you feel what that does? So again, it may not be making coffee in the morning, whatever it is. Anytime you're lifting or doing something, or even just walking, if you can think about that shortening of the back line, bringing the shoulder blades down as you engage the inner thighs and glutes, you become very strong, stable, and balanced. Pretty cool. Let's keep that as we come into our nerve flossing. Hands in prayer, neck is all loosey-goosey. Sending it all the way one way and the other without rotating. So we're just staying neutral through our torso. Deep, abiding breath, Ujjayi. Notice if you've forgotten about any of the engagements, and see if you can reignite your body into a powerful, peaceful strength. And let go. Ideally, you would do about 10 to 12 each way. I know we've been doing this for a while, so I'll offer the opportunity of doing them together. If you feel like you cannot coordinate that in a good alignment, then you really want to bring it back down to just one at a time. Hands are like you're holding a tray of drinks, and then you slowly dump the tray of drinks, and then we return. And so if you don't feel any stretch at all, it may be that you've gotten rid of your wrist flexion that you want to keep. So it's like the tray is still moving there. Good. Is there anybody not getting something useful? Well, we can just check in if you feel it at the back of the arm, but just on the one side. Yeah, don't hesitate to, come out and sometimes do opposite shapes. You know how I tell you guys sometimes to rotate the world's largest doorknob? That can feel good too. Really what we're doing is helping our body again create better balance, front, back, inner, outer, upper, lower. And then the third one, last one, which I find isn't as effective for as many people, but occasionally someone's like, oh my God, I need this. So I want to make sure not to skip it. You just start with your hands in front or one at a time, and then you slowly bring them back with the fingertips kind of coming together like a little beat. Elbow is straight. If you're not feeling anything at all, try rotating the little beak outward. And this is where I get into my kind of tennis elbow stuff, all my gripping muscles from massage. It really feels good. And bringing the hand in front, I use this opportunity to hyper stretch my hands. And then bring them together in behind. And we want to make sure we're not rotating shoulder head forward at all. Nice broad front still. Beautiful. That was a really cool little series of adjustments, folks. And remembering your feet with fondness, of course. Right, now we're going to come straight into a much favored, much beloved balancing pose of tree pose. And we're going to again start with a little bit more attention on the feet. So you bring your big toes together, the whole inner line foot. See if you can lift all your other toes except your big toe. Feel free to look at them and point to them. Then try to spread them and anchor them. I didn't used to be able to spread my toes on my left foot hardly at all. And so I actually would like go down and like squish them apart. Also, if you have a hard time spreading toes at all, and you have like the start of bunions, hammer toes or anything, I want to remind you about the yoga toes, the kind of silicone thingies that you can put between. I've seen them make an incredible difference in people's feet, and that will affect our balance as well. So kind of critical. So as you're ready, just feel that you're squeezing again an imaginary piece of paper. That's going to bring us into that tree trunk. You might bring your hands lightly into prayer, if you like, jet airplane. And just see what happens if we close our eyes. So before we're even releasing one foot from the floor, we're giving ourselves this little added challenge and a chance to notice, can I breathe into a little bit of instability? Soften my mouth, jaw, tongue, and eyes. You can either keep the eyes closed or close them again later if you choose. We're going to bring one foot into kickstand. Two things about this. One is we'd love to rotate that bent knee as far out to the side as we can. And the way we do that is by squeezing the glutes forward and thinking about externally rotating the thighs. This will actually help keep you in that deep inner thigh strength. Maybe you bring the foot up off of the floor, and if you do, this is the second thing, see if you can flare those yoga toes open. So you're able to just intently connect with the ball of the foot and the heel. And then of course, inner thigh. So if you popped out onto that standing hip, that's because you didn't use these guys. Let's add them back in. And then your choice, if you want to close eyes, add arms. Remember, we love our chin just lightly touch towards the base of the skull versus anything you're reaching or striving. I hope you get to fall out and come back in. If that's not happening at all, close the eyes and get to experience. If you really are in that forward vision, you'll just lightly touch down and come back. I mean, it's not a big commitment to gravity. You are defying gravity. Like so many big, beautiful trees do. All right, when you're ready, come on out. It feels good. Shake the legs. Sometimes if my low back feels tight, I'll go to ragdoll. You guys look, by the way, like you're just so intently and beautifully focused on minutia, and I thank you for that. Because there can be a tendency, especially if you've been doing yoga for years, and I know tree poses, I don't need to all those details, but I'm really hoping it's kind of transforming an experience. So let me know if you've got any questions. Same attention to toes spreading, tree trunk creating, broadening through the front, softening through neck, jaw, face. As we come into kickstand, external thigh rotation, perhaps the foot comes to the calf, never the knee, yoga toes flare. Perhaps we close the eyes and or add arms. And sometimes I'll even intentionally just sort of touch down with my toe or ball and then tuck back up onto the calf and explore that experience. How beautifully your center is holding, allowing you to return again, again. I know we actually have some rain coming up and some beautiful weather. I actually think it'd be super cool to intentionally go out, not just like lightning and stuff, but go out in your yard or your deck or wherever and stand in tree pose with just pouring rain. I think that'd be really cool. Just an idea. All right. We are going to come into a little bit of dog series stuff. If that is just not feeling right for shoulders, etc. today, how cat would be a beautiful place to be, or just even in and out of cobra. Okay? Otherwise, planting feet front of the mat. On your inhale, slow sweeping out and up. Back bend your nose, you decide. Exhaling, fold. Deep commitment. Inhaling, extend halfway up, hands on shins. Exhale, step back, right foot only. Mid to lunge for full inhale. Exhaling, step back, downward facing dog. Full breath, keep breathing. Inhaling to your plank, knees or feet. I always do knees first time around. Exhaling, chaturanga. Maybe you're just bending those elbows an inch. Inhaling cobra, or like we did last week, you could come from there into your upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Inhaling, we'll take the right foot forward. Make sure you really curl up into yourself. And if it still doesn't get forward all the way, use your right hand on the ankle. Exhaling, ragdoll. Empty, empty. Inhale, sit to chair, the root and rise. Is there more? Exhaling, prayer hands. Full breath in mountain. Your inhale, we'll explore the flow on the other side. Inhale, root and rise. And luxuriating this journey. So yummy. Exhaling, fold. Let the head go with gravity. Inhaling, extend halfway up. Nice long back of the neck. Exhaling, step back, left foot over. Commit to the lunge so that hopefully your knee is right above the front heel. Exhaling, step back, downward facing dog. Kind of lift that front foot, kind of drag it. Yeah, gorgeous articulation. Full breath, anchoring through that ear line of the hand. That will help the shoulders, just like the feet. Good. Inhaling to your plank, knees or feet. Squeeze the imaginary block between your thighs. Exhaling, chaturanga. Don't lower the body, just bend the elbows. Gorgeous powerhouses. Inhaling into the belly for cobra and or extending the arms to upward dog. Exhaling, belly of breath, take you back. Maybe you're working your heels towards the floor, getting that back leg stretch. Inhaling, left foot comes forward, but it's knee into belly. Stepping. Core support is what brings that other leg forward. Enjoy the ride. Deep fold. Inhale, ride to chair. Exhale and resolve in prayer. Step sideways on our mat again. I invite you to go as wide as you can, comfortably anchor through all four corners of the footbed. And for just a moment, squeeze an imaginary foot between the thighs and just see if that's different than if you just relax everything and let the sticky mat hold you. And then it's just all in that outer leg. We're going to rotate that right foot 90 in warrior two. I'm going to just use my hands on my thighs just to kind of explore, what's my edge? Deep my bed. We want that knee straight above the heel. And I'm going to take my left arm, my back arm around behind in a partial bind. So I've got the palm is facing away from my body, the back of my hips there. And then I'm going to play with this front hand. I'm actually going to bring it into a mudra, index finger to thumb. The other fingers kind of connecting in a flat line. And I'm going to face it down the floor, and then I'm going to inhale, send the hips more forward, and sweep the arm forward and up, and then release it. I'm going to do that a couple more times. Is there more? Is there more? Last time. Hold, release your back arm in the same mudra. Fingers pointing down at the floor. And now please take your head and rotate looking at the floor, backward, whatever you need. And see if over the next inhale you can get a little extra length through that waistline. We're not leaning back so much as reaching up. And then release to your straddle. If you need a fold, go for it. Otherwise, left foot moves to warrior two. Again, think about all four corners of the footbed. Anchored, powerful. And you guys look really good. Okay, with those hips, find your edge. If it becomes too much, you can always change it. Take that back arm, the right one around and approach the body. Broadening through the front. If this bothers your shoulder, don't do it or release it somewhat. And then inhale, reach that left arm up. So there's like a sinking through the left hip and rising through that left hand. And then we're gonna sleep. Relax it. Inhale, deepen it. Nice Chinese. One more and pull. And perhaps rotating the head down and releasing that back hand in the same mudra. And releasing. I'm going to bring my feet in just a little bit before folding and straddle. Knees bent. And you can go a little side to side and just feel that you're lubricating all of that outer and inner line. You guys have done some beautiful work there today. I hope it feels great. Hope we really get to enjoy the fruits. We're going to bend it down, however you want to get there onto our backs to do flying pigeon, unless you do classic pigeon, in which case you come onto hands and knees to get there. So as you cross the right ankle onto left thigh for the flying pigeon, please remember to keep the heels flat. That's what will stabilize and protect the knee, especially if you have any outline pull, like I was describing that I've been struggling with, and I'm doing better now. Hug that right knee tightly towards the chest. So for starters, I'm just hugging the right knee. Got both hands wrapped around nice and tight. My left leg is helping send the foot part towards me. Then I'm going to send it just a little towards the center line. And that has the ability to get into that kind of piriformis, maybe even your external rotators. If this isn't getting you a great edge, keep making adjustments. Sometimes for people, it's also clasping the foot, being able to play with the angle. And again, relax through shoulders, neck, soft mouth. In your own time, you can release, unwind, and explore. I don't know why, but the saltus, maybe it's the steaminess, made me think of my Rotan and yoga retreat this winter. And I'll tell you that second week only has 2 spots left in it. I've got about 8 spots, I think, left in the first week, which is last week of February. Just saying. Direct flights on Sun Country out of Minneapolis to live the island life. It was fun. I pretty much went barefoot the entire time. The only time I put on shoes was when we took a taxi to a nearby town. So great. Well, and flippers for sort like that, but they don't. Is this side different? What are you finding there? We've done a lot of really interesting thigh, butt ignition, right? When you do come out, I want you to just kind of scan, notice, like, do you need massage somewhere? Is there something to explore? Do you need to go into another round of, say, bridge with foot hover? Might be interesting. If you felt kind of weak in that first round, it would be cool to see if things have kind of evened up, fired up a little bit for things to work better. And maybe there's something that you love in your practice that we just haven't done today. I would love for you to go there. And I'm continuing with my encouragement, excuse me, for even 5 minutes of meditation, or it's lovely, of course. If doing seated meditation just does not work for you, for your body or whatever, you just don't want to do it now, fine. Feel free to stay in corpse pose, or you might go to having the legs up the wall. If you're at home, you can put your lower leg on a sofa or ottoman, it can feel really lovely. But it was neat. I read a really cool email from a group called Dharma Lab, and they were talking about how, there's all this excitement in recent years about psychedelics, for treating all kinds of, mental and emotional issues and so on. And then people come out with different, basically states, right? They have different mental states. But ultimately, what we're all looking for are to develop different traits, right? So if we're somebody who is high anxiety, we'd love to have the trait of being someone who easily just abides in equanimity, right? Or whatever it might be. I've had so many people in my life who are people who are constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I never understood that until actually a couple of big events happened in my life where my dad nearly died in a car accident. And I totally became someone who was waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I was like, oh no, it jangled my nervous system. I need to get back to who I was, or like, hey, that's great. So meditation holds a unique ability to help us over the long haul. It's not a sudden, I'm a different person because I meditated today. You won't feel it or notice it, but it is actually working on us in a way that does change our traits over time. So I can't recommend it highly enough. And so we'll just be doing a 5-minute meditation. I'll chime the bowl a couple of times during, and then just a single chime, and then I'll do a 3 chime at the end of the 5 minutes. That single chime is a reminder to you to root and rise, again, kind of zip up or zip down that back line, shoulder blades to sacrum, and to rise up through the crown, and to tune into your breath. So wherever your brain was, doesn't matter. Bring it back to breath. Closing the eyes, you might turn the gaze up and in towards third eye. Begin to notice the breath rising, settling, and seeking the gap or pause between. You're welcome to continue meditating or find for your yogic rest. And slowly expand your breath. Let each deepening breath be a gentle awakening. In each moment, you might become more gradually aware. What am I doing in my body today? How did the practice play upon me? What particular things in this practice were revealed, imbalances, and what particular things feel like they would be useful? If you need a review at any point, you're like, yeah, I noticed I need glute strength, which were the things or whatever, I'm always happy to consult with you. Hope you have an amazing week next week. I won't miss being with you. I hope you'll take advantage, like I said, of the YouTube channel and videos and so on there. So, have fun being you. Om Shanti Shanti. Om peace. Peace. Namaste. Thanks so much for being here today, Jeannie. Awesome to practice with you.
Thank you. Thank you. You have a good week next week, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye now.